Galilas' rail on their feet. Millions of dollars on the line for these next two cards.
During the 5 days of the PokerStars Players No Limit Hold'em Championship in the Bahamas, literally hundreds of hands were captured on camera.
This is my game! Welcome to my court!
And obviously, when you condense all that poker into a series of 9-hour-long shows,
You guys sit down over there.
a few interesting moments end up on the cutting room floor. So we figured we'd share some of these deleted scenes from the PSPC.
The moment we get out, they pull us back in, right?
Here are 5 of the best hands that didn't quite make the cut. First up, a hand from the very first feature table on day 1, with more than half the table going to the flop.
Fold.
Well, we are going to have multi-way action here on day 1. 5-3, king, queen, ace, 8, queen, 10, jack, 8, and whoa, that's a flop that hits everyone except for 5-3. Top pair for Samau, he checks. Gut shot for Greenwood. 2 pair for Biles. And a flop straight for Eric Baldwin. Well, good luck, everyone.
Baldwin continues to hit hard.
Makes sense for a guy who's a huge fan of baseball. And Biles, understandably, on a wet board, bets his top 2. Eric Baldwin calls
Eric Baldwin.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. Spade on the turn. So, hey, now Joao Samau's got more outs.
This hand's getting silly.
Suddenly, this hand is getting sillier. And Biles is still betting 4,500, exactly half pot. And Eric probably, boy, what do you do here? Do you raise so that the 4th spade doesn't come and kill your action and also maybe undo your hand? Or do you have to play it cautiously because maybe Biles was semi-bluffing or Samau had a spade draw to begin with? You got no spades in your hand, no blockers. What?
Baldwin folds the straight.
Just thinks that between these two guys, one of them is going to have been on spades. I guess he doesn't have the nut straight either. You know, he could be up against King Jack. That's another hand combination to think about.
Samau calls it with the flush draw. This hand going to the river.
And he's got more outs than just the spade.
9 of spades, anyone? Nope, 7 of diamonds, so 2 pair good. Samau checks.
And Baldwin would have had the best hand.
This goes to showdown. He might be kicking himself.
And I don't think you can really blame Biles for checking behind here. Don't worry, buddy. 2 pair good. Joao Samau just continues to get wrecked.
Yeah, he's got half of his starting stack, but that still equates to 145 big blinds. You see Eric's reaction?
Brutal.
746 players returned for day 2. Later in the day, with around 260 remaining, there was a big clash between Sebastian de Jonge and Luke Marsh. King high flush draw for Marsh, overpair for de Jonge. It's practically a flip, and Sebastian has checked the action to Luke.
See if Marsh continues that pre-flop aggression. He's gonna think those 10s are probably live too.
He does continue, bets 22,000. And the question now is, how will Sebastian de Jonge respond?
Well, this is like the 3rd best flop ever for Jack, so he's probably not folding.
What are your thoughts on this situation, Lex?
I think there's a pretty reasonable chance that this might be going in. I think that what de Jonge might think here also is that if Marsh played 10s or 9s aggressively here, that he's also just going to bet and then call them because of this board. So adding those, yeah, very, very inescapable. He's actually going to be very happy to see the king 10 of hearts, because when you get snap called like that, you're really going to be concerned with a higher pair, but they're going to run it out.
And Marsh has been on a tear at this feature table. He's got 12 outs, 12 cards that Sebastian has to fade to avoid being eliminated.
The hearts are easy to fade. It's those pesky kings. Whoa.
King hurts the most.
Okay, Sebastian now 71% favorite. Marsh still has those 12 outs. Hearts and kings.
Kom op, jongen.
The river is a king.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I should not have said that.
That's fine with you, man.
He is running so hot.
That's rough.
Luke Marsh gets there.
Like.
Eliminates Sebastian de Jonge, and Marsh now has more than 700k.
Nice call, Darsh.
Day 3 of the PSPC delivered world-famous bubble coverage. And as we approach the money, Talal Shakurchi was playing the role of table captain up on the main stage. Here's a hand featuring Talal and 3-time Super Bowl winner Richard Seymour. Shakurchi raises under the gun. Richard Seymour has jacks on the button.
They're pretty deep. They're over 40 big blinds. I think that even though you're going to expect somebody to be pretty aggressive with a big stack, it's still an early position raise. You're still close to the money. But, you know, he has a little bit of less of consideration of the money, so he might just play it straight up.
Looks pretty straight up to me.
Yeah, this is definitely a kind of a trap hand. You want to play very, very tight from the big blinds. Really kind of avoid spots with hands like King 9, King 10 even, Queen 9, Queen 8. You're going to be dominated so often, 3-way. Not going to get a lot of chances to bluff. It's just a trouble situation.
Lex loves being in the room when there is a 91% prospect of a chop pot.
Oh no! I didn't even
if we get the
notice.
showdown that often though.
Really?
Oh, but it's just gonna be a call, and then everybody's gonna check. Put a jack. Jack for the lads, or a club. Somebody.
That's
feels
what I'm thinking. Yeah, a club and somebody wants it more, as they say.
Yeah, I think that the biggest chance of somebody making a bluff out of his hand would be Seymour here. He's like, wow, I'm up against 2. They both called. You see, that's the problem. You hit the queen, and now you have to fold. That's just something that happens so often. Which means it's not going to be a chop pot. Haha! Right back at you. Thank you, Chang.
Second barrel from Talal Shikirchi, 38,000.
One of those situations where you're very afraid that somebody's kind of taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, your hand is very weak, very vulnerable too.
It's kind of dangerous calling turn there too, right? Because if you put, you know, you assume that they're maybe firing with one club. I think a lot of the time when you justify that call, right?
Yeah.
And then, but then when they fire big on the river, they're always going to bet again, regardless.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is one of those hands where if you get drowned a little bit too much in the hand, then usually the time to exit it is not the river decision, but earlier in the hand. Cheek it.
So this time, as a hand between these two gets checked to showdown, the pot is shipped to Talal Shikirchi. Fast forward to day 4. With just 17 remaining, all guaranteed at least 200K, Griffin Benja, Julian Martini, and Jason Kuntz got involved in a 3-way pot.
$260,000.
Benja waking up with King Queen suited from under the gun. Nice little comeback he made from the last time I was in the booth. Did some work in the last couple hours. Martini. Great hand in the cutoff. Ace Queen suited. Happy to call. Now, I don't know if you guys out there know much about Farid Jatin, but if you've read a few of his hand histories throughout numerous live events that he's played in, he is someone who is extremely aggressive, somewhat splashy, likes and has been good and correct at making hero calls that I feel like some people might shy away from, especially in tournaments with so much money on the line, that he's going to be a really interesting player to watch.
Who's this now?
Farid Jatin.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's been the chip leader. He's been not the chip leader. He's been the chip leader again. He's been all over. He clearly knows what he's doing.
Kuntz pocket 4s from the small blind. Also joining the party. Schwartz thinking about it, but I like this fold. I think King 7 offsuit is just too loose of a defend against an under the gun open. I think suited kings are fine, but I wouldn't really start defending anything worse than probably King 9 offsuit, King 10. Probably fold King 8.
What an insane feeling this must be to have a set at this stage of the tournament.
Yeah, and a very dry flop as
Yeah.
well. Don't have to be worried about much.
It's exactly what I was thinking.
375.
So Benja just continues with top pair, king kicker, and of course Martini. Top. I haven't said top in a long time.
Top. What an absolutely sick spot to have 95% of the equity 3 ways.
And if people have been watching Kuntz play, and I'm talking about his opponents at the table, they probably noticed that, especially yesterday, he was a little bit splashy, trying to pull off a few big bluffs. I think he's not going to get a lot of credit if people are using that image and that idea of his play.
He's a little
today.
flippant. He was a little flippant yesterday.
Yeah, and so it's always kind of good to be the guy at the table that people are probably going to pay off.
He's a very pay-offable image. What's happening? What's happening in that shot? Was Griffin threatening him? Looked like someone was shaking their fist.
Here's the thing, when Kuntz peels from the small blind, it's weighted towards a lot of pairs, a lot of the middle pairs, small pairs, all the queens, king, queen suited, queen, jack suited, jack 10 suited. But would he check raise 2 people with something like maybe queen 10 here? Probably not.
I mean, that's one of the drawbacks of it being a dry board. Like, you don't have much to be afraid of, but also there's not a lot of value. There's not a lot of semi-bluffs out there.
And I think Bender just makes a very disciplined fold right away, especially with Martini behind him to act. But Martini, I think, it's a fairly sizable raise, but Martini does have the backdoor nut flush draw as well. But if he calls this 1.6 million, then that basically leaves Kuntz with about just half pot back for the turn. So what's the best card that you can hope for if you're trying to go runner, nut flush, and you don't feel that great about having top? It's a tough spot. If you call, do you think somehow you can get your opponent to shut down on potential semi-bluffs? I mean, is 7-5 likely?
We're down to 16.
Wow.
Oh, man.
That was amazing.
Why is everyone so good?
Lastly, a hand from that epic final table. At this point, they were 3-handed, and Platinum Pass winner Ramon Kalilas was very short-stacked.
We are affected to a new blind level as well here.
Oh, yeah, the level's ticked over. Blind's now 250,000, 500,000, and that's another 500K. So you're putting in 1 million chips every time it's your big blind.
Small in.
Ramon has hit his 5, and Rivera has shoved on him.
Yeah.
With a backdoor diamond draw, ace high, and a gut shot. That's
nice,
the call.
Yeah, great call.
From Kalilas. He is ahead. He is the player at risk.
À l'espoir.
Needs 3 or an ace to knock out Kalilas.
%28 chance only that Ramon gets eliminated here. Rivera's rail on their feet. Kalilas' rail on their feet. Millions of dollars on the line for these next 2 cards. Nine of diamonds on the turn makes things way sweatier. 13 outs for Rivera to knock out Ramon Kalilas. It's a 6. Cornelius doubles up. And now they're virtually even again. Julian Martini's got 80 big blinds, but it's 20 here for Cornelius and 20 big blinds for Mark Rivera.
A big win in a huge spot, and a few hours later, Ramon claimed the trophy and the $5.1 million first prize.